We love to quote the book of Jeremiah, specifically 29:11, but I don't know if people fully understand all that's happening within that book. I'm Dr. Divine. I have a PhD in Old Testament, and I want to talk about current events and how that can help us understand what's going on in Jeremiah, specifically chapter 37. In Jeremiah 37, Zedekiah has been put in power. You can read a little bit more about this transition in 2 Kings 24, but he's been put in power and he sends two people to go to Jeremiah to say, pray for us to the Lord our God. And I've highlighted the two people because I want you to pay attention to specifically this first person, son of Shelemiah. At this point, the Babylonians had already come through Jerusalem. They had taken treasures and exiled people. So Zedekiah makes this request, and Jeremiah in response says, you're doomed. Nobody's coming to save you. Actually, the people who you thought were coming to save you, they're going to go back to their land. That's the Egyptians. And then the Babylonians are going to come and tear your city down and burn it. Verse 10 of chapter 37 says, even if you defeated the whole army of the Chaldeans or Babylonians who are fighting against you, and there remained of them only wounded men in their tents, they would rise up and burn this city with fire. The king is seeking help, and Jeremiah's response, or the word that Jeremiah received from the Lord, is your enemy is going to triumph over you. Now, can you imagine in our current climate with what is going on, a prophet coming out and speaking to the leaders of this country and saying something like what Jeremiah said, oh, your enemies are going to win this war. Your enemies are going to triumph over you. Can you imagine the response that would elicit? People would call this person unpatriotic, un-American. Oh, you should have just prayed for the leaders or prayed for the country instead of speaking about the downfall of the country. And these statements are similar to the critiques that Jeremiah received. So in verses 13 to 16, we see that Jeremiah was arrested, he was beaten, and he was accused of deserting to the Chaldeans. But who was he accused by? In verse 13, we see the name of the person who arrested Jeremiah, and it also says, son of Shelemiah. Now, if you will remember in the beginning verses, it talks about the two messengers that were sent to Jeremiah, but one of them was a son of Shelemiah. So possibly a brother to the original messenger. What we see in Jeremiah 37 is not uncommon when we look at biblical prophets. Oftentimes we see biblical prophets calling out those who are in leadership. They are talking about their downfall, talking about their failures, speaking about their destruction. So it's always interesting to compare what's going on within the biblical prophets to what people believe prophecy to be today.